Graphics technology is always pushing forward, with new advances to lighting and detail to make our games more and more realistic. And the high bar has always been to achieve photorealism. And it looks like this new tech has taken us closer to that goal than ever before.
Recently, a bunch of hardware companies announced they would be looking at something called ray tracing to advance graphics in gaming in a very big way. For those who are unfamiliar, ray tracing is a graphical rendering technique which is capable of producing high-quality visual realism. The method is capable of simulating a wide variety of optical effects such as reflection, refraction, light scattering, and dispersion. Basically, it creates some real nice-looking lighting, and it can make games appear almost photorealistic, which is the main important thing here. The only thing holding ray tracing back at the minute is that it's resource intensive, and the current crop of hardware on the market isn't quite powerful enough to utilize it at a decent frame rate. At the moment, ray tracing is mostly used by animation companies like Pixar to create the high quality CG you see in movies like Toy Story. But companies like Pixar don't have to render their movies in real time, so they can afford to wait for each frame to be rendered, which can take hours just for a single frame. However, recent advancements in computing technology has many hardware companies saying that ray tracing is the future of video games graphics.
At the Game Developers Conference, Microsoft announced the next iteration of their graphics API, DirectX, would focus on ray tracing in particular. Microsoft has said ray tracing will allow for new and increasingly realistic renderings to take place. With the new DXR API, Microsoft have managed to implement some ray tracing techniques to improve graphic quality without the massive hit in performance. Microsoft said DXR will run on currently existing hardware, and it's meant to bridge the gap between traditional rendering techniques and ray tracing. But new hardware will be built to better handle the more complex operation. And Microsoft aren't alone in their enthusiasm about ray tracing. CPU and GPU manufacturer AMD announced they would be partnering with Microsoft to help define, refine, and support DirectX and ray tracing.
And no one to be left behind, Nvidia also announced that they are working on their own version of ray tracing called RTX. Nvidia says that RTX is the culmination of 10 years of algorithms and GPU enhancements, which does sound exciting. They also released a tech demo jointly developed with game studio Remedy, showing how RTX works, and we must say, it does look pretty nice. It's also worth mentioning several game publishers have announced they would include support for these techniques in their game engines. So far the list includes EA's Frostbite engine, the FutureMark benchmarking tools, Epic Games' Unreal Engine 4, and the widely used Unity 3D engine.
So when will we see these highly advanced techniques being used in games? Well, it's hard to say. Developers won't immediately switch over to these techniques, but Microsoft says we will see the technology being used in games in the near future. And ray tracing is said to be a big thing at this year's GDC, so there will probably be some more live demos demonstrating the tech in all its glory. Hopefully, you would have seen some of that in the voiceover. Yeah. I've got the RTX one lined up ready to use in that. Why am I telling you what I'm going to do? You're going to see the final product.
They will have already bust it as well.
Yeah.
This is some high quality presenting that we're hitting.
I've been gone for a while, so
yeah.
This is a...
I'm coming back with a bang, I must say.
I'm out the gate.
So unless your favourite people on the internet are Digital Foundry, that might have been some hard work for you there, but it is a big deal because it does look very nice, as you would have seen in the footage that editor Jake, who edited the video and handily explained to you just then, he would have put some footage over that. See how that works.
It's like think of it as a visual aid to our writing.
That is how video works. So you would have seen what this thing looks like, and the lighting is awesome. And just imagining that in game, imagining a game looking like the animation quality that you get in Pixar movies and stuff is just, it's Unreal Engine.
Liam put it so simply in the office earlier. Basically, you're going to see Pixar-level lighting in games, and the amount of time it takes to render a Pixar movie is ungodly. Basically, it can take hours and hours for just a 1 minute scene of a film. So to imagine playing a game in real time, making decisions, and all this lighting's got to be registered, rendered, and up. Sounds like it could be a long way off, but surprisingly, no, they're making some huge steps towards this already, which you would have just seen, and it looks very exciting. Lighting seems to be one of the most sought after things.
Definitely.
Lighting and water. Oh, it's an easy sell, isn't it?
Lighting makes a massive difference. It makes some really bottom tier level Steam indie games. And I'm not talking about good indie games, I'm talking about the shite that's on Steam. It elevates that stuff to be in any way acceptable because the lighting engine is so great. And it's in things like Unreal Engine and Unity. The tools are in there to make the lighting look great. A game in motion just looks so much better. If you see a still from a game, you know, that's one thing, it might look very nice. But when that still starts moving, it just elevates everything. So imagine
Apart
if...
from Mass Effect on your own head.
Well, yeah, definitely. If you're looking at Pixar as the, you know, as the kind of ultimate here, as this is what it could look like in terms of lighting quality and shading and whatever. But if you're in control of that and you're moving the animated character and stuff, it just elevates it like so much more. It's going to look really cool.
I always see people saying, like, how is it going to get any better? Imagine that.
Yeah. Exactly.
So there we go, guys. It looks like realistic lighting is closer than we thought. Why don't you let us know what you think of that in the comment section below? Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. We've got more content on the screen right here if you want to go and check some of that out. There's also a link to our Patreon if you want to support the channel. Until then, we'll see you next time. Is that what you say?
Yep.
Until then, we'll see you next time.
You're welcome. You can have it.
Bye.